Hello, this is the ninth part of the Chunkloading rant, and today I'm going to cover a couple issues to do with vibrations. So, the first issue is the fact that vibrations get completely lost upon entering unloaded chunks. But to understand this issue, you first have to understand how vibrations and listeners work in the first place. So, when anything emits a vibration, it will instantly search around self for all kinds of listeners, such as, for example, Sculk senses, and it will instantly notify them that a vibration happened. Then the listeners will set themselves a timer according to the distance from the vibration emitter, and upon that timer running out, they will react accordingly. The important part is that the listeners get notified about the vibration instantly. There is no delay there. So the problem is that the vibration only searches around self within loaded chunks. So if a listener is unloaded, it will be completely ignored. Here, uh, as you can see, this node block is able to trigger both of these calc senses. And one of them, this one, is located within the loading range of that green force loaded chunk. But the Sculk sensor is outside of its loading range. So when I enter spectator, this one stays loaded while this one gets unloaded. Now, uh, even though this node block is able to reach both of the Sculk sensors, if I unload the chunks, um, if I unload the chunks before the node block fires, it will only trigger one of the Sculk sensors, the one which stays loaded. The one Sculk sensor that gets unloaded completely ignores the vibration. As I already explained, this happens because before the vibration gets emitted, the chunks get unloaded because I enter spectator. Here, now I am in spectator and this chunk is border loaded, this one is unloaded. In a couple game ticks, the node block will be triggered about now, and it will search around self for listeners, but only find this one because it can only search in loaded chunks. And thus, the left scalp sensor will be completely ignored. Um, tick and freeze. Uh, this is a problem because, well, Sculk sensors were initially advertised as some sort of a wireless transmission line, and there is not much point in a transmission line if it can randomly lose its signals when crossing a chunk border. Um, yeah, so this was the first issue. The second one is to do with Sculk sensors requiring a rather strange condition to be able to react to the vibrations. What do I mean by this? When a Sculk sensor picked up on the vibration, when it got successfully notified about the vibration happening, it will set itself a timer, and upon that timer running out, it will react to that vibration. For example, it will power blocks around itself. But to do so, it requires a very strange condition. It requires a 3 by 3 square of chunks around it to be at least block ticking, so to be at least lazy loaded. Uh, and this is a problem because, well, Sculk sensors, because of this condition, rely on their neighboring chunks. And different neighboring chunks can be loaded by different tickets, which opens the door for all kinds of desynchronizations. Because tickets from some chunks can be not tickets from different chunks can not only be processed in different game ticks, but can be processed in different game phases within the same game tick. Because some tickets are processed in the chunk management phase, while other tickets are processed in the schedule task phase. Well, at least maybe not the tickets, but at least the loading levels of the chunks. So yeah, an example of this can be seen here. Uh, as you can see, both of these Sculk senses are from time to time triggered by these two clocks. And these two green chunks are force loaded. If I go into spectator, the left Sculk sensor stops working, but the right one continues to. This is because the left Sculk sensor is in a lazy chunk, so it's in a block ticking chunk and is kind of supposed to work. It is successfully able to pick up on the vibrations from the clock, but it's not able to react to them because to the left of it there is a non-block ticking chunk, a border loaded chunk. But the Sculk sensor itself is in a lazy chunk. While this Sculk sensor is in the same kind of a lazy chunk, but it is able to work perfectly fine. This is because the neighboring chunks of it are loaded by another ticket. Thus, the entire 3x3 square around it is able to be lazy loaded or at least block ticking. Thus, the Sculk sensor reacts to the vibrations just fine. I don't really understand why this particular condition was implemented. Like, they could have just gone for making Sculk sensors require the chunk they're in to be entity processing, and it would have been like almost the same condition. But anyway, maybe there is a reason for the condition to be the way it is. So yeah, that is it for today. Thanks for watching.